All right, welcome back. Some political grab bag time now. We're going to go through a series of issues, and so they ring the bell on us here. All right, the first one up here is an ad. And I got to tell you right now, I don't care how you feel about the issue, I think it's a pretty good one. And it hits the Democrats right where it hurts. Want to know, how do Dems fight back? Take a look.
On healthcare, Jean Shaheen didn't tell the truth.
You can keep your insurance if you like it. It will increase choices for families. It will promote competition.
The facts. More than 20,000 New Hampshire patients have had their coverage canceled. And Obamacare offers only one insurer on New Hampshire's individual market. So next November, if you like your senator, you can keep her. If you don't, you know what to do. Ending Spending, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Now that spot's going to be playing out in a whole bunch of different states and districts here. And we talked about this yesterday, Jonathan, which was what's been more damaging for the president with the ineptitude of the rollout here, that his competency, that he couldn't get it done, or his trustworthiness. I mean, if people believed in the guy, other than the conspiracy theorists or whatever. Now people say, time out, you told me one thing, you did something else. Democrats are going to have to answer for this. They have, I think, one of two choices, because they can't ignore it. Either they say, yeah, I am for this thing, because watch how this thing's going to work, and they keep their fingers crossed, they get the right number of sign-ups for it, and the thing actually does more harm than good come the fall, or they back away from it and say, you know what, I, like you, was sold a false bill of goods. What do you think happens?
I think it's a combination of both. I think they're going to say,
but you think some Democrats run away from it?
Not so much run away from it, but they're going to run away from the president's ineptitude in terms of getting this thing on track at the start. So I think you're going to see that. You're going to see, hey, listen, I voted for it. I put my faith in the president and HHS to get this thing online when it was supposed to get online. They didn't get it done, and we need to hold them accountable. Yet at the same time, they're going to obviously emphasize and promote some of the positives that are within the law, like keeping staying on coverage, pre-existing conditions.
But I remember this with Quinn.
It's not good.
Whenever a candidate tries to have it both ways on something, it never ever works. Even if they're right, that it's not completely their fault, they either have to own the thing or completely get away from it. But anytime they try and nuance it, public says, time out. You voted for it, or you vote against it. Are you for this or you're not? They're going to be forced to say yes, and then they're going to look like they're trying to weasel out and have it both ways.
Does blaming the president actually help? If you're a Democrat and you blame this on the president, does that help you or does that hurt you overall? Because you're a Democrat.
It depends where you listen. At the end of the day, these guys are running for office. It's their name on the ballot. They need to do what's best for them. And if they need to go up against the president, I think the president would even be fine with it as long as he's able to keep the numbers that he has and hopefully grow what he has in the House.
Well, they're definitely not going to run away from it.
They're not going to run away from it.
Because they'll be branded a traitor within their own party.
Or flip-flopper.
Or flip-flopper. And if you run away from it, then, what did you know? How come you backed it? It opens up that door of flip-flopping. What they're going to do is say, one simple line: what's the Republican idea for better health care? Now, you can blame us for getting this wrong, and then that's when they'll sell the White House out. And perhaps the White House was not as good as they should have been, but my party wants better health care for you. End of story.
I blame the insurance companies. They didn't have to drop those policies. They chose to. That's how bad these insurance companies are. That's why we need Obamacare.
We're going to suffer short-term losses, but overall, I think,
Did you write that down? I just gave you the line.
Now, let me give you labels. Beyond that spot here, nobody wants to be tagged if you're a candidate here as a carpetbagger. Now, a carpetbagger, if you're not familiar, is somebody who moves to a new place just in time to run for office, get the residency all set up here because they think that's their best chance to get elected. Well, today, that label it's not for sure yet, could apply to Scott Brown. You may remember him, the former Massachusetts senator. He sold his house and is moving to New Hampshire, likely to run for the Senate again. Not for sure, but certainly he's given off signals for it. Now, here in our region, venture capitalist Sean Eldridge, he's being attacked by the same tag there as a carpetbagger. Critics say Eldridge and his husband, Facebook co-founder Chris Hughes, went shopping for a district where he could run for Congress. And we've seen this before in our neck of the woods. Certainly Hillary Clinton, many people may remember, had to answer these same questions when she established the Westchester residency in time to run for the U.S. Senate. And if you go back even before that in history in New York, Bobby Kennedy, in 1964, the former Attorney General, he was elected as senator from New York after he quickly established residency there as well. Okay. if there's do's and don'ts about moving to some place to get elected, what are they?
You better be a Kennedy or a Clinton, first and foremost, because there's no other way. I mean, Scott Brown was in office for like 2 minutes with a special election. I don't know how he thinks he could play in New Hampshire. I just don't see it. Come on. I mean, politicians are like below like used car salesmen in terms of trustworthiness and honor and respect.
Opportunistic on
right.
steroids,
I mean, it's crazy. And Sean Eldridge, I mean, listen, he's a Democrat, but I just don't see it. I mean, he has overcome a tremendous negative reaction from many people in the district because he's not from there. He doesn't live there. He has no business being there. And so it's going to be a major challenge, a difficult time, and I don't see either of them victorious.
I think Scott Brown read his own press clippings when he was the Republican flavor of the month for breaking the cycle against President Obama. I think the voters in your district have to want to buy what you're selling anyway, and that's the only way that they'll accept you as a carpetbagger. Hillary Clinton, New Yorkers wanted to elect her, liked her, so it didn't really matter that she wasn't from here. Also, I think it helps if you're in New York because we seem to do it more often.
1,000% correct. I remember covering Hillary Clinton.
Me
the
too.
fact of the matter is, New Yorkers wanted to like her. And so once Moynihan gave his stamp of approval when they walked along together at his farm, it's like, oh,
Plus, they cleared the decks for her. They made the primary headaches go out of the way, everything. But I remember that listening to her where people were like, like us, like, why am I schlepping up here to fill in the blank here and she's not even answering the questions? They had to figure that out too. But you're right. She had the blessing from the party fathers, and it moves. All right, now. Next in the grab bag, quite the welcome back to the White House for incoming Senior Advisor John Podesta. Podesta, who also worked for Bill Clinton, was, we thought, supposed to kind of smooth out the rough edges here and help the White House work more effectively as an organization whiz. Well, maybe we thought wrong. When your first on-the-record quote is to call House Republicans, and I'm quoting directly here, a cult worthy of Jonestown, and if you don't know what that is, look it up, John Bayer, and say he was offended by that. Podesta has since apologized, but Dom, he seems like he brought in somebody, and I think it's healthy. They need some kind of shakeup there in the White House. But this ain't going to be a hug it out tour. He's obviously came in and dropped the hammer on the GOP. Don't
take this the wrong way. I like the comment that he made. I like it because it sends a message. Now, it's offensive to the comment that he made, and he did the political thing and apologized. But the problem for this president, no one fears him. Absolutely no one. You have got to have a chief of staff or someone, the equivalent of a chief of staff, that if you go the wrong way and vote against me on this one, I'm going to say have a good day, and my chief of staff is going to take you out.
And we already know, Andrew, that this is 2.0. Rahm Emanuel makes Podesta look like a sweet guy here. And Obama said, thanks but no thanks, go back to Chicago because this isn't really me. He's the get-along guy.
It's funny, ever since Rahm Emanuel left, all Republicans have been complaining nonstop that the White House doesn't play nice with the Republicans. It can't have it either way. You can't win for losing on this one, but we'll see. We'll see how this plays out.
Okay, when we come back, the president sends an Olympic message to Russia over its anti-gay policies, but the question is, did it go too far, or are you saying, damn Skippy, that's exactly what we ought to be sending, especially given the intolerance the Russian government did with that new legislation right before the Sochi Games? We'll talk